Three, two, one. Good morning, America. It is the top of the hour. I am Bill Martinez, and we've got a lot to catch up on. Of course, the sleepy interview, I don't know. Just my impression is I was watching it. Uh, Kamala Harris seemed very tired. It was like she was channeling her sleepy Joe Biden or something. I don't know. And of course, what she had to say, not all that impressive. And it didn't, I guess it wouldn't have convinced anybody, I believe, on the right that she was legitimately genuine. If I can say that, it's almost redundant. Forgive me, uh, but if she's really sincere about her policies, and then of course, missing dates, off a year, talking about that when she was on the debate stage in 2020. Of course, she wasn't on the debate stage, said that I want you to know that my values haven't changed. I mean, to me, when I heard that, it sounded so socialistic. It sounded like something, someone who wants to convince you of something, kind of sleight of hand. It's like don't ask me for any kind of accountability or any other question because this is based on my values, and my values haven't changed. Well, but the fruit of said values tells us differently, even if we just say the last 4 years, because you were and are the vice president of the United States. And even if we say that and then we look into your history as a senator, it doesn't match up. But the mainstream media, the social media oligarchs, and her team would want us to believe differently, that we have a new and improved version of Kamala Harris. But you're still left empty. I agree with JD Vance, is that when you hear her, you don't have this sense that there's gravitas, that there's passion and belief in what she is saying. Except that, if she wants to talk about climate change, I mean, but even then, when she talked about climate change, and I'm looking forward to having this discussion with Dr. John Zemerick later in the hour, because from stream.org, John will be here, and I'm curious to get his impression on this, is that, she talks about, just like Barack Obama, that it is a given, like Al Gore and the rest of the climate alarmists, that it is a given. There's no given. I mean, yes, they put up a battalion of scientists, but we put up an equal battalion of scientists that say there's nothing there. And meanwhile, look at how much money trillions of dollars. And what do we have to show for it? Are we better off chasing this? Meanwhile, China's going, hey, see ya. Thank you very much. We've got artificial intelligence coming up, and we know it's going to require a lot of energy. And we're building one, two, oil refineries a week. I mean, they're preparing, and meanwhile, we're debating something that most of the country looks at as a big yawn, and they've kind of put up with it. Okay, all right, I got to change light bulbs. I got to do this. I mean, the EV mandate a little bit too much. I mean, you really were, pushing too much to think I was going to spend 60, $70,000 on an automobile, and then on top of that, in typical government fashion, oh well, what we got to do, we got to incentivize. So we're going to give everybody a $7,500, $7,000 incentive for purchasing an EV. So what did this is like, and this happens all the time. It's such a joke. So what did the sellers of EVs do? They raised the price of their cars to absorb some of that $7,000. I mean, it's just like, we the people, we don't deserve any break. We don't deserve any kind of concession on our money. It's like the government giveth, and corporate America finds a way of taking it away, or government takes it away. I mean, it's just absurd. And every time, I mean, I don't know about you, but every time the government's fingers are involved in anything, I start flinching. I don't know, I get this tick, that comes about because it's never straight up. It isn't. It's just, it's frustrating that's where it is right now, ladies and gentlemen. But what can we do? Anyway, coming up in this first hour, we've got Bill Federer, the American Minute creator, author, and speaker. Looking forward to talking to him. In fact, we're going to remember September and a incredible congressional prayer. And of course, we're talking about Labor Day as well, and why Labor Day is so important and meaningful to all of us. Stay tuned. It's all coming up right here on Bill Martinez Live.
Care, and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-254-1421. 800-254-1421. 800-254-1421. That's 800-254-1421.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Bill Martinez Live, a program about current events, our culture, our values, our politics, and our future. And now, Bill Martinez.
We better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going on. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going on.
6 minutes after the top of the hour. Good to have you with us. We're on standby for Bill Fetter. He'll be joining us in just a few moments. But before he gets here, I thought that I would talk about his latest report that he just sent out, this morning. It's pretty provocative. I say provocative in as much as that it helps us remember what our roots is all about and the power of prayer. He says, he writes that the first session of the First Continental Congress opened in September of 1774 with a prayer in Carpenter's Hall, Philadelphia. America was being threatened by the most powerful monarch in the world, Britain's King George III. And on September the 7th, 1774, as Congress began, the founding fathers listened to Reverend Jacob Duché read Psalm 35, which was the Psalter for the day according to the Anglican Book of Common Prayer. I find it quite interesting when, we do take a look and remember, with the liturgy, what are the important scripture readings for a specific day, whether we're talking, about Jewish tradition, Catholic tradition, and in this case, we're talking about the Anglican Book of Common Prayer, how God uses that and uses prayer on a certain day. And you just think, wow. I mean, if for a moment you think there's no God, you got to think, wait a minute, God is here. It's clear that he has this influence. I mean, if you think not, I think, speaking with Jonathan Cahn, by the way, I will give you a little program update here. Jonathan, we've got an entire hour with Jonathan on Monday. This will be Monday, September the 2nd on Labor Day. You'll want to be here for this. We're going to be talking about his brand new book, The Dragon Prophecy. And I've been excited to be able to share this with you. We had this interview several weeks ago, but it's been on embargo, which means I couldn't play it until next week. So you're going to be one of the first to hear this extended interview with Jonathan. He was so gracious with his time and to be able to go in detail. But speaking of Jonathan and relevant to, certain, how dates and liturgy and, whether it's books of the Bible or, it could be, certain, certain pieces of scripture that are read on a specific day. In another conversation, Jonathan and I were talking about 9/11, and it was amazing that on that day, how that scripture, what they read in all the synagogues around the world on that day, how it was coincidental with 9/11. It'll blow you away. And even to the point when, for those of us who read the subscribed one-year Bible, for example, the one-year Bible on 9/11, I'm telling you, you start looking at this and go, is God talking to us? And, but the question is, God's always talking to us. The question more is, are we listening, right? Well, in this particular case, here it is. you get how this all comes together in Psalm 35 on this eventful day on September the 7th of 1775. And this is from the Psalm 35. Plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me, fight against them that fight against me. In some versions, it says that God will contend with those that contend with me, right? But this was the prayer. I mean, here we were as a country, as a newbie country, coming against the number one fighting force in the world, and we were calling God to come in the midst of this situation and to contend with those that contend with us. The psalm goes on, take hold of buckler and shield and rise up for my help. Draw also the spear and battle axe to meet those who pursue me. Say to my soul, I am your salvation. Confidently, again, being reminded that it is God that we look to save us. Even for a time such as this, here we are, fast forward to the end of August of 2024. And as bleak as things may look, for people of faith, we can understand that we can have confidence in knowing that God is contending with those that contend with us. And what does that mean, contending? It's not our idea, it's God's idea. It is, that's where the contention is. I mean, look what's happening so clearly. The forces that are coming against the spiritual battle and the forces that are coming against people of faith, how Christians, how Catholics have been attacked and targeted by our own government agencies like the FBI. And of course, Christopher Wray tries to come up with some other story and say, "Oh, well, that's not really the case." It's obviously the case. Director, come on, give me a break. But again, you see, we're seeing this happening in Europe. It's coming here to the West, and here in America, it raises its head. And look, at people of faith have to come together. And this is a time, again, we have a critical election. And the critical election, what makes this so important, it's not, yes, we're talking about a president, but it's also about a philosophy. It's about, where is, like Kamala Harris says that, she hasn't changed her values. Well, it's interesting, she says that. I think it's commendable. If you say your values are consistent, that's fine. Because then if your values are consistent, then the fruit of those values should be quite obvious, right? And I would say to people of faith, can you say the same thing? Can you say that your values are consistent as much as they can be? Understanding, look, we're human. We live by God's grace, by his faith, by the blood of Jesus. And that doesn't mean that that frees us from accountability, and that we should be able to escape from any kind of responsibility whatsoever. The idea is that we would do the best we can and continue to be prepared. Even in today's readings, the reading today was about the 10 virgins that were waiting for the wedding feast, right? And you had 5 wise virgins, and you had 5 not so wise virgins. 5 were prepared because they had extra oil. The other 5 didn't. And then they asked the ones who were wise, the unwise asked the wise, hey, can you share some of that oil with us? And they said, well, if we do, then we won't have enough. Maybe you should go into the marketplace and buy your own. And while they did so, they missed the bridegroom coming in, and they got locked out of the wedding. All to say is that we have people of faith, and people of faith understand what I'm talking about. We have to be prepared. We have to be ever ready for what's going on. And especially for these times when, people, would say, boy, these must be the last of the last days. It sure looks like it. Well, if that's really what you're seeing and believing, okay, and those are your values, then we should be prepared and battle ready to get ready for the next, the coming events that are happening. And here, going back to what Bill had written about in his special prayer, is that this was the prayer of our founding fathers and, the men who had come together to build this nation. The prayer continued, be thou present, O God of wisdom, and direct the counsel of this honorable assembly. Enable them to settle all things on the best and surest foundations, that the scene of blood may be speedily closed, that order, harmony, and peace may be effectually restored, and that truth, justice, religion, piety prevail and flourish among the people. What a prayer that we could even use at this very moment for this country. Stay with us.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Home sales are down 31% across America, and mortgage rates are on the rise. If your home is not selling, you need to call our experts right now at the Quick Cash Hotline. We have investors ready to pay you cash for your property, regardless of the condition it's in. Most of our closings can happen in about 7 days. You don't have to worry about a buyer getting approved. You don't have to worry about showing your home. One simple call right now. Just pick up the phone and call us. I'll give you the number in a second. We will negotiate with you a price to buy your home. It's that simple. If you're ready to sell your home right now, any home, any condition, and you don't want to put money into it, no problem. We'll buy it from you. Call right now. It's a free call.
800-217-6459. 800-217-6459. 800-217-6459. That's 800-217-6459.
Timeshare owners, listen to this. You know it's coming. Your timeshare maintenance fee bill. At RFA Cancellations, we've seen timeshare maintenance fees rising every year. And I bet you have too. Most of our clients that we help get rid of their timeshares don't have that kind of free money laying around. If you don't either, call us. When you hire our experts, we'll do all the work for you to help you get out of your timeshare with zero money down with approved credit. If you haven't used your timeshare this past year and you want to legal way to get out of it, we can help you get out of your timeshare contract right now and stop paying all the maintenance fees. Plus, put more money back in your pocket every month. Your timeshare is not free, but this call is. Call us right now before time runs out.
800-245-1365. 800-245-1365. 800-245-1365. That's 800-245-1365.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-536-4436. That's 800-536-4436. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-536-4436.
Glad you could join us just about 19 minutes after the top of the hour. Bill Martinez here, doing the best I can to impersonate Bill Federer. I guess Bill got a conflict in his schedule here, so I'm going to have to sit in his stead and do the best I can to share with you his brilliance from his latest American Minute. We're going to talk about Labor Day as well. But I wanted to continue just a little bit more about this prayer because there was controversy whether or not this prayer, should be read at this meeting. It was opposed by Mr. J of New York and Mr. Rutledge of South Carolina because they said we're so divided in religious sentiment. Some Episcopalians, some Quakers, some Anabaptists, some Presbyterians, some Congregationalists, that we could not join in the same act of worship. See, this is the thing that I don't know. This has always bothered me. I just have never believed that Jesus went to the cross for denominations, right? But you get this denominational conflict that goes on. It's like Jesus, went to the cross. I'm only doing this for the Catholics. The rest of you, I'm only doing it for the Jews. It's just, it's our humankind. That we want to have our own little clubs and our own little posses, kind of deal. And we end up dividing the body of Christ, not uniting. And I'm sure that grieves the Lord. But anyway, in this particular instance, regardless, though, of the denominationalism, God's word always wins. God always wins, right? Regardless of our silliness. So anyway, John Adams, as he's explaining to his wife about the prayer and some of the things that led up to it, he says that when there was this contention, it was Sam Adams who arose and said, "Hey, I'm no bigot, and I can hear a prayer from any gentleman of piety and virtue." Who was at the same time a friend to his country. Think about that. Those kind of values: piety, virtue, and a friend to this country. Three key qualifications I believe that we should all honor as patriots of this great American vision and great American experiment. He was a stranger in Philadelphia, but had heard that Mr. Duché deserved that character, and therefore he moved that Mr. Duché, an Episcopalian clergyman, might be desired to read prayers to Congress the following morning. The motion was seconded and passed in the affirmative. Mr. Randolph, our president, John Adams Wright, veiled on Mr. Duché and received for an answer that if his health would permit, he certainly would. Well, accordingly, the next morning, Reverend Duché appeared with his clerk and in his pontificals and read several prayers in the established form and read the collect for the 7th day of September, okay, which happened to be the 35th Psalm. You think it's by accident or God ordained? I'll tell you, God's hand was all over this. Remember, and you got to remember the context of when this prayer was said and the mindset. This was the next morning after they had heard of the horrible rumor of the cannonade of Boston. John Adams goes on to say, he says, "I never saw a greater effect upon an audience. It seemed as if heaven had ordained that psalm to be read on that morning." Do you think? See, this is the power of God. When God anoints a prayer and a time, this is what we call revelation. You just feel like somebody went in the throne room of God and saddled up along God and said, "God, please give me your word. What is the word that we need? What is the today word that we need?" And this prayer was answered. And for some, some of the religious people, I mean, it's so funny. Oh my goodness, it was an Episcopalian. God forbid, who cares? Who delivers the word of God, but that the word of God would be delivered. But, again, in our own humanity, we think that somehow it has to be qualified. John Adams says that after this, Reverend Duché unexpectedly to everybody struck out into an extemporary prayer which filled the bosom of every man present. He says, "I must confess, I never heard a better prayer or one so well pronounced." Episcopalian as he is, Dr. Cooper himself never prayed with such fervor, such ardor, such earnestness and pathos, and in language so eloquent and sublime for America, for the Congress, for the province of Massachusetts Bay, and especially the town of Boston. It has had an excellent effect upon everybody here. John Adams continued. He says, "I must beg you to read this psalm." This is how powerful the word of God can be and the timeliness of it. So God is speaking, but again, the question remains is, do we have ears to hear? The other thing I want to talk about here briefly is the significance of Labor Day. Labor Day is coming up this Monday. And as I mentioned to you, on this Monday as well, we're going to open up the first hour with a hour conversation with my good friend Jonathan Kahn and his new book, The Dragon Prophecy. Wow. The thing about Jonathan, I've told him ever since we first met. I don't know, it's probably going on. I want to think it maybe 10 years, it seems. And I told him then the first time, I said, Jonathan, you chicken skin me. And he didn't understand. I mean, all these years, he just kind of like went along. He's such a gracious rabbi. He didn't say like, "What the heck are you talking about? Is this kind of like some Mexican thing or what?" And so he just kind of went along with it. And it was only maybe about a year or so ago that he finally understood what I meant by chicken skin. And we were talking about it. He goes, "Yeah, I never quite understood that." I said, like goosebumps. He goes, "Oh, goosebumps. I get that." I go, "Well, when you look at chicken skin after it's been plucked, it's kind of bumpy." I go, "That's what you do to me with your revelation and your writings. They're just so powerful." And again, you talk about being in the throne room of God. This is the sense that you have with Jonathan, especially right now in this period of where the prophetic is so key, because you see so many signs and you're trying to make sense of it and going, really, are these the last of the last days? Is there something else? What else should I be doing? Well, first of all, you need to stay in the Word of God. And because God's speaking through his word, he's speaking through his people, he's speaking through events, whether it's different moons that are coming about, environmental situations. It's amazing how Satan has used this idea of climate change and trying to steal, so to speak, God's thunder, which is, hysterical. But, God is speaking to us through all these elements if we're only listening, so that we would be prepared. So anyway, on Labor Day, there is a Labor Day blessing, and you can read it in Ecclesiastes 3:22. And this was written from the wisest man to walk the face of the earth outside of Jesus. God gave him wisdom that would never be superseded, because he asked for the right thing. He could have asked when, Solomon became king. He was so overwhelmed in the position, understanding the responsibility that was there. And he could have asked for money, could ask for long life, whatever earthly thing. But he said, no, what I want, God, give me wisdom. Give me wisdom to lead your people. The weight and responsibility of being king to his chosen people. This had to be, again, it's kind of like that same moment when Jesus asked Peter, who do you say I am? And Jesus said, well, you're Jesus, you're the Messiah, you're Jesus Christ. And Jesus said to him, Peter, I know nobody told you that. Nobody in this world told you that. You had to have gotten that from God himself. And because you've acknowledged who I am, because that's what this is all about, this is what I'm here for, is that you would acknowledge me, because in acknowledging me, you're acknowledging God. And because you have matured to that point, I'm going to tell you who you are and what you're all about. It's incredible. So here it is at this point for Solomon, who gets revelation from God. And of all the things he could ask for, he just asked for wisdom. Help me, God. I need your wisdom to lead your people. And God said, hey, I'm going to give you that and plus, and plus, plus, plus. And in fact, that's what happened. And so, and he wrote, he says, I have seen that there is nothing better that a man should rejoice in than in his work. Think about that. And you think of when you're happiest. Your happiest, this is when you're working and you're being productive, because that is God ordained, ladies and gentlemen. So happy Labor Day to you. Thank you for being with us.
IBM and the United States Tennis Association are teaming up and using generative AI to deliver a more informative and engaging experience for tennis fans around the world. Thanks to IBM's Watson X and Granite large language models, the 2024 U.S. Open digital platforms offer never-before-seen features, bringing fans even closer to the action inside Billie Jean King Tennis Center. New post-match summaries mean fans can access detailed analysis for all 254 U.S. Open singles matches, with long-form summaries for each match arriving within minutes of the last serve for near-instant coverage at unprecedented scale. An enhanced version of AI commentary and a redesigned Slam Tracker brings more frequent expressive and contextual commentary, with highlight packages published just minutes after a match concludes. Live matches will have a near real-time 3D graphic of current play alongside generative AI-produced insights. IBM Skills Build's new collaboration with the USTA Foundation provides students, coaches, and the public access to AI and professional development courses, workshops, and more. To see IBM technology in action, visit usopen.org or download the US Open app. Sponsored by IBM.
If you're 65 or older and Medicare is your main source of insurance, pay close attention right now and listen for details on how you may save thousands of dollars on your health care costs. Did you know that Medicare can pay for things like dental visits, home delivery of drugs, even a gym membership? Call us right now and learn how to unlock all your Medicare benefits. Medicare and supplemental plans that we provide can even offer you drug coverage with zero copays and pay for transportation to your doctors. Medicare plans can offer you wonderful money-saving benefits, but you've got to call now. We'll help you get the most out of your Medicare. Make this free, no-obligation call now. Save a ton of money on your health care costs and get the code to unlock all your earned Medicare benefits. Paid for by Senior Choice Plans. 800-796-3954. 800-796-3954. That's 800-796-3954. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. That's 800-699-0358.
Hey, welcome back. 28 minutes before the top of the hour. Bill Martinez here. I don't know what's going on with planetary alignment. Our guests are just MIA this morning. Bill Feder, I just got a note from him. He got distracted. He said his son came in and lost track of time. So, asked for forgiveness, of course. Bill is and will always be one of my heroes. And of course, I remind you to check out his service to our country, the American Minute. And every day, I mean, I'll tell you, I subscribe to it. And a lot of our listeners subscribe to it. And I welcome you to do that as well, to subscribe to the American Minute. And it's just a walk through history, a continuation to help us remember, the great things about our country. We just have lost so much in translation because we're deficient of our history. And as a result, it's being replaced. And new narratives are coming about that are in conflict with with the truth of our history. And it requires us. I mean, if this democracy is important to you, okay, then we need to honor and protect it. And we do that through knowledge. Our founding fathers clearly had said, Madison said that, we have to be a knowledgeable people in so many words. We got to be smart about this. You can't be goofy. Because you really don't deserve this, because there's so much involved, responsibility wise, in understanding how this democratic republic works, with this, with the Constitution, how we interact with one another, how we see and perceive the dangers that have come upon this country. I mean, here we are, the first time in my lifetime. I mean, we're talking about, communism and Marxism as being a form of governance that would take over our democratic republic. Yes, we've been threatened by, in the Cold War, by communism and other threats along the way, but and we were warned. We were warned at the turn of the last century that progressives and the communist movement was going to move through each institution, slowly, step by step, And look what they've been able to do in taking over our educational system. And now they've got a stranglehold on our government to such a degree that power and control is the order of the day. It's not about we the people. They could care less. They just want power and control by a few elites. That's clearly what's going on here. And my prayer, my hope is that that we would all be increasing our knowledge and understanding, and that we would have eyes to see, what is going on and how we're being manipulated here. How the government is using our money to buy up votes. I mean, this is absurd. How the government is mismanaging our affairs. I mean, here we are at 35 trillion. I mean, we're for all intent, we're on the border of bankruptcy, ladies and gentlemen, and you have no idea how devastating that's going to be. Not to mention that you have all these outside forces, especially China, that is doing everything they can to take over America. They see that we're vulnerable. And one of the keys to our strength is the petrodollar, lest you forget. And that is in jeopardy right now. I mean, the US petrodollar has this is what has allowed us to grow and to hold superiority over these other countries, because it's about the economy, right? It's not only the economy here domestically, it's the economy all over the world. America's influence, what we were able to do, since World War II, because of the strength of its people and our economy. Now, the good news is the people are still here. The problem is that the Democratic Party has found a way to shackle us. We've been so concerned about civil rights and Black America that we don't even realize how the Democratic Party has shackled us and enslaved us in a sense. We have become indentured servants to the Uniparty and to this globalist movement. Their ultimate goal, lest you forget, and I know sometimes it might be far-fetched. You say, "Oh, Martinez, you're really out there." Just look at the fruit. See what's happening with the World Economic Forum. And we've been warned. Again, I reference people of faith because we should know better. God warned us and told us about it in the book of Revelations, that there would be this concerted movement for a one world government. Well, the systems are there. The institutions are there for a one world government. It's just in a sense, kind of a minor shift that has to take place right now, and you've got it. And in a way, I mean, look what's going on as an example in California. That gives you a little microcosm of what it begins to look like when you have a uniparty. You have a governmental force that doesn't consider anybody else. It's just the ruling elite class of that state. What have they done with the Golden State? I mean, I was born and raised there. I've got kids and grandkids, and a great grandchild that lives there. And it's disconcerting for me. And I think, what's happening? I mean, businesses, corporate America is moving out of California, just like New York. In fact, I was reading this morning where Foot Locker is saying, "Hey, we're out of here." They're moving out of New York. They're coming to Florida. Everybody's coming to Florida, or they're going, other places other than these blue states that are so crippling with their taxes and their closed-mindedness, and they're not interested in serving their constituency and serving the people or serving businesses, because businesses is what makes the world go round. They are the ones that, provide jobs and pay taxes and that sort of thing. And, what Kamala Harris would say in terms of gauging, of course, she meant gouging, corporate America gouging. I mean, has no clue. I mean, it just really is clear. She has no understanding of how business works. And I don't know if she's ever signed the front of a check. And when you sign the front of a check, it is, it's everything. I mean, you are endorsing your employees.
Hello?
You're supporting everybody. You're supporting everyone to, to carry them through. And, and I guess what's happening here, I think we got John Zamerek, who somehow, and all of a sudden here he appears. "Hey, John, I apologize. I didn't know that you were in the waiting room all this time. So thank you for saying hello."
Hi,
Good
I'm
morning.
sorry. I'm on the road and I
Yes.
was having computer trouble on my laptop, so I just
Oh,
got it working.
oh, okay. All right. Well, good. I now I only feel half as bad because I didn't want to think that I was ignoring you all this time.
No,
But
you weren't. I was frantically trying to get Zoom running on my laptop.
okay. Well, if you have anything to add, we've got a couple of minutes left in this segment. And what I'm trying to get people to understand, John, is how this one world government is being set up for us. And there's manifestations clearly, whether it's California with the Uniparty, New York, things that are happening there, the Democratic Party, how they're moving away from the constituents. Go ahead.
The Vatican is part of the Uniparty.
Yes.
Pope Francis is misusing the authority of the papacy and helping to discredit the office of the papacy by saying it is a mortal sin to try to restrict immigration. He is saying you will go to hell if you don't open your country up to be colonized by Sharia Muslims or Venezuelan socialists or anybody else who shows up who wants to come in your country and vote themselves into power and take your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If that were Christianity, Bill, then Christianity would be false. That alone would be enough to prove if Jesus had really taught that, he would have been a false Messiah and would have deserved to be nailed to the cross. But he didn't teach that. The church never taught that. The Bible doesn't say that. No Christians have ever believed that anywhere in the world before 1968. Pope Francis is only saying it because he is an atheist who was recruited, I think, by a local Communist Party cell and sent into the seminary, like so many other communist infiltrators, as Bella Dodd testified in the 50s, to destroy the Catholic Church. So I think Pope Francis, we should not consider him Pope anymore because he has taught heresy, proving he's not a Catholic and therefore not eligible to be Pope.
Well, John, to your question, to what you're saying, my question is based on what? Where is it say in the Word of God what you're saying to support your statement there? And I guess that's what you just summarized.
Right, St. Augustine.
Okay, we got to go to break. Let's pick it up on the other side. More from Dr. John Zemeric. Stay with us. We're coming on just about 28 before the top of the hour.
IBM and the United States Tennis Association are teaming up and using generative AI to deliver a more informative and engaging experience for tennis fans around the world. Thanks to IBM's Watson X and Granite large language models, the 2024 U.S. Open digital platforms offer never-before-seen features, bringing fans even closer to the action inside Billie Jean King Tennis Center. New post-match summaries mean fans can access detailed analysis for all 254 U.S. Open singles matches, with long-form summaries for each match arriving within minutes of the last serve for near-instant coverage at unprecedented scale. An enhanced version of AI commentary and a redesigned Slam Tracker brings more frequent expressive and contextual commentary, with highlight packages published just minutes after a match concludes. Live matches will have a near real-time 3D graphic of current play alongside generative AI-produced insights. IBM Skills Build's new collaboration with the USTA Foundation provides students, coaches, and the public access to AI and professional development courses, workshops, and more. To see IBM technology in action, visit usopen.org or download the US Open app. Sponsored by IBM.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We now have unlimited data that never slows you down. Covered by the Verizon 5G network. And for less than $30 a month, we make your phone your ride or die. Switch now and pick a free 5G phone with qualified plan purchase. And your fourth line at no additional cost. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
In a single moment, everything can change. When a player's sudden cardiac event brought a national football game to a halt, it shone a spotlight on the importance of CPR readiness. Now, with youth sports in full swing, the American Heart Association is rallying parents and coaches to be ready in an emergency. To be ready, learn hands-only CPR. It's a skill anyone can learn in minutes. Visit heart.org/hands-only-CPR and become a lifesaver today.
Okay, so you're seriously thinking about investing in gold and silver? And I don't blame you, considering our current economic condition. So the question I get asked all the time is, Bill, who can I trust? Okay, you have to know we're constantly being approached by gold investment groups, but I wanted to make sure if I was going to recommend a gold investment group to my audience, that it was someone I could trust and recommend to my own family and friends. This is why I chose the Genesis Gold Group. Their customer service and knowledge is world class. You're going to find out and see for yourself when you call Genesis Gold Group at 844 202 4252. I only trust Genesis Gold Group, and I know you will too. They're committed to getting your money back on the gold standard. So call the Genesis Gold Group today, 844 202 4252. That's 844 202 4252, or check out the website, goldwithbill.com.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. Call now and find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-745-9090. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here. It's always nice to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now. 800-745-9090. You'll find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now. 800-745-9090.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center, may not be available in all states.
Hey, welcome back. Glad you could be here with us. Bill Martinez at 14 minutes before the top of the hour. Dr. John Zemerick from stream.org continues with us. John, I want to give you an opportunity to summarize what you had said earlier about the Pope. I know for some Catholics, this could be a bit disturbing, but, there's empirical evidence to back up, what you've been sharing with us.
Pope Francis, in a recent audience, said that to try to resist mass immigration is gravely sinful. A recent Vatican document that was issued by Cardinal Tuccio Fernandez taught the same thing. It said deporting anyone for any reason was an abuse on the same level as practicing slavery or prostitution or human trafficking. That is, it's intrinsically evil. The Pope teaches it is intrinsically evil to deport anyone for any reason. If, God willing, Donald Trump is reelected and they start deporting some of the 8 million people who walked across our border while Kamala Harris was allegedly border czar, the Catholic Church will scream like a stuck pig. The reason for that in America is that the Catholic Church made $3 billion in 15 years smuggling immigrants into the U.S. and getting paid by the government through nonprofit contracts to do that, using vendors such as Catholic Charities. Catholic Charities is neither Catholic nor a charity. It is an illegal immigrant pyramid scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. They make money smuggling people into the country, getting them onto welfare. Then they move on to get the next immigrant in, and they cash a check. Dallas Catholic Charities, where I live, they're the ones who brought in from Somalia a family of so-called refugees. Now, why would someone, if you're really a refugee in Somalia, a Sunni Muslim country, desert country in East Africa, why would you have to fly over 10 other Sunni Muslim countries where Sunni Muslims can live in peace, all the way to Texas? One of those refugees went to Ohio State University and went on a machete jihad attack, slashing American students with a machete. Dallas Catholic Charities brought that person in and made money from it. I looked into their numbers. Dallas Catholic Charities spends more than half its money on salaries. So Catholic Charities is a huge employment agency for left-wing Catholics or ex-Catholics that makes its money from us via the government. So, by the way, the bishops made $3 billion in 15 years. That is dollar for dollar the same amount they had to pay for sex abuse cases. So they paid their bill for letting gay priests molest our kids by smuggling illegal immigrants into the country. That's what Pope Francis, again, I believe a communist infiltrator and no longer Pope because he's no longer Catholic, if he ever was, so-called Pope Francis is saying now, invoking the authority of the papacy, it is a mortal sin to deport illegal immigrants or to even try to stop them from coming into your country. And of course, he thinks they should be allowed to vote, and they'll be allowed to vote to seize our homes, to control our country, to impose Sharia law. Look in England. In England right now, there are thousands of British people who have been sent to prison. They're in prison now for going on Facebook and saying, I think there's too much immigration.
Exactly.
And wait, they are emptying the prisons of violent murderers, rapists, most of them Muslim immigrants. They're letting them out of prison to make room for the British citizens who just said on Facebook, I think we have too much immigration. That is what is happening in Great Britain, the country of Magna Carta, from which we inherited most of our democratic institutions. And it is what the Democrats plan for us now.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing to consider here too, and we saw this video footage out of Aurora, Colorado yesterday, John, this Venezuelan gang, El Paso, that says that this is MS-13 on steroids. And this was brought to you by Catholic Charities and also the Biden-Harris administration, who have opened up our borders to endanger our citizens. And I guess we're just supposed to sit back and not commentate on it, not raise an alarm on this?
No, you're not supposed to push back. According to Pope Francis, it is a mortal sin to try to protect your country from invasion. Again, Jesus never said that. St. Augustine didn't say that. He taught that the Romans should resist the barbarian invasions. Martin Luther, for Protestants out there, he called on Christians to fight the Turkish invasion of Europe in his day. No Christian church has believed in open borders until the 60s, when various churches had been successfully infiltrated by the Communist Party. Protestant and Catholic, the communists poured in, took over first the mainline Protestant denominations, then many Catholic orders like the Jesuits, which Pope Francis belongs to. And now, as Megan Basham has demonstrated in her terrific new book, Shepherds for Sale, they have gone after the Baptist Church and other evangelical churches, the same leftists who want to teach that Christianity demands open borders and socialism. And guess what? Acceptance of the LGBT lifestyle as well.
Right.
So
why are we surprised, John? Why are we surprised? God warned us of this great apostasy, and I believe it's coming upon us, don't you?
We are absolutely in the midst of it.
Yeah.
Do not trouble your conscience. It is not possible for the church to flip its positions. Pope Francis says now that capital punishment is always evil and always was, including when God demanded it in the covenant of Noah.
So he knows better than God, right?
Right. Including when Moses imposed it. So if Pope Francis thinks he's higher than Moses, higher than Noah, higher than the Bible, higher than every pope before him who taught that capital punishment was justified, that is not how the papacy works.
Right.
That is the opposite. That is the work of Antichrist.
He's not speaking ex cathedra here, John. And that's what people need to understand. Go ahead.
Right. He doesn't have to, though, because we Catholics are taught to just listen to the Pope generally, to generally trust the Pope, even when he's not speaking ex cathedra. Well, we can't anymore. We can no longer do that. We have to now listen to the Pope with the same skepticism that we listen to George Soros or Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Tim Walz. They're all part of the same globalist cabal that wants to liquidate our sovereignty because they hate Western civilization. They hate white people. They hate traditional Christianity. And they want to destroy all those things. They want to persecute them the way they are persecuting Christians in Ireland and in England today.
They want to destroy America and Americans, and America needs to wake up to that reality. John, 4 minutes left, and I wanted to get your observations on the celebrated interview, the long-awaited interview, that everybody was so excited to hear, with Kamala Harris and CNN last night. What were your observations?
It reminded me of those times in college when you hadn't done the reading and you get called on in class?
Yes.
Perfect. The Grapes of Wrath is an important novel by a famous American award-winning novelist, John Steinbeck, who wrote novels and won awards and became famous as an American. And Grapes of Wrath covers many important themes vital to American culture and history, which is why John Steinbeck has become a famous award-winning novelist and American. It's just that kind of crazy repetitive word salad.
Yeah,
Kamala Harris.
It's all based on Cliff Notes. That's what you're saying, John.
Yeah. Kamala Harris is dumb as a rock and mean as a snake. Yeah. She should never have gotten any higher than being a manager at a DMV somewhere, abusing people trying to renew their driver's licenses. But she slept her way to the middle and failed her way to the top. She was such an unpopular candidate in left-wing California that she barely got elected attorney general. When she was attorney general, she covered up for priests who abused children. She covered up the sexual abuse of children because some of her big donors were close to the left-wing Catholic bishops in California. But she did try to imprison David DeLayden for uncovering Planned Parenthood selling baby parts for profit. Yeah. She barely won that election. She finished almost last in all the primaries. Joe Biden picked her partly as a diversity hire, partly because she was so unpopular that she made him look good by comparison. For the same reason Obama picked Biden. He didn't want anyone who would compete with him. He wanted someone who would be obviously pathetic compared to him. Joe Biden did that. Kamala Harris is in way over her head. We keep hearing reports from former staffers, because she has a 90% turnover on her staff, that she's abusive. There are strong suggestions that she's an alcoholic. That would help explain why she talks in repetitive circles, like Foster Brooks on the old Celebrity Roast.
Right, exactly. Yeah. She seemed very sleepy last night at times, and I thought she was channeling her Sleepy Joe. And of course, in order to kind of obfuscate any kind of responsibility, she assured CNN and Dana Bash that, regardless of how people perceive her positions on policies, that her values have remained constant. What does that mean?
Yeah, I have no idea. But my question is, who is running the United States of America? Who controls the nuclear missiles? It's obviously not Joe Biden. Do we think it's Kamala Harris? I don't think it's her. Do we have any idea who's running the country? Did you vote for any of these anonymous people? Who is running our country for the next 90 days, 60 days? Who is running America? Nobody knows. This is how the Soviet Union used to work. This is not how America was ever meant to work. And if you doubt that we're dealing with a deep state conspiracy, probably of the heads of intelligence agencies, probably of the same people who did the letter saying Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. The sort of bipartisan conspiracy of spooks from the three-letter agencies. They are probably the people running the country. And guess what? They've been running it since Joe Biden stole the election.
Well, and this is why Iran is scrambling to connect with this administration, because they see that a change is coming, and they'd much rather make a deal with Biden-Harris. John Zemerick, Dr. John Zemerick, the author and senior editor at stream.org. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Bill.
Founded in 2004, PBS Radio TV stands as a trailblazer in remotely engineered live radio broadcasts over the internet. We ignited the new media revolution, offering a powerful platform for vital voices and alternative perspectives that mainstream media often silences. Our live broadcasts stream on over 200 of the world's largest internet broadcast stations, with on-demand syndication across all major Douglas and Donald Newsom have crafted over 100,000 radio and web TV episodes for more than 1,000 satisfied clients. Experience the pinnacle of web radio and TV engineering. Compare our unbeatable prices, exceptional services, and comprehensive offerings with any other professional provider, and you'll see why we're unparalleled in the industry. Call us at 888-710-8061.
President Biden recently released a massive $6 trillion budget, the largest budget in U.S. history. And guess who pays the bill? That's right, you, the American taxpayer. American citizens and business owners will be paying more taxes. That's a fact. And if you owe back taxes, they will be coming after you to collect payments. In fact, President Biden also hired thousands more IRS agents to go after you. If you got a letter from the IRS and you know you owe back taxes or you haven't filed in years, don't put your head in the sand. Call us today. We've saved our customers millions of tax dollars. One quick, free phone call will show you how we can reduce your past tax bill and save you thousands. Guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Call now.
800-932-1597. 800-932-1597. That's 800-932-1597. Paid for by the Tax Helpline.
BBS Radio TV. If it's not mainstream, it's on BBS Radio TV. A place for answers.
It's the top of the hour, America. As we get into hour two, we've got a great lineup here with John Fleetwood, who will be back with us to talk about what's really behind AIPAC's $100 million push for AI health tech in the U.S. and our U.S. lawmakers compromising national sovereignty. Stay tuned for that as he's gone deep into this topic to open, again, our eyes to what's happening. I mean, in response to what, John was asking, Dr. John Zamarik earlier, who's running the country, right? I mean, this is, again, I keep saying this recently, is that never in my lifetime have I ever doubted who was running the country. But here we are. In today's America, that question remains. And we've got a lame duck president who takes back-to-back vacations, West Coast, East Coast, and you're thinking, okay, we've got problems in the Middle East. These things that are happening in our country, crime. We've got this Venezuelan gangs that now are being quite obvious. And we saw the video, what happened in Aurora, Colorado, the last couple of days. This is all happening while Joe Biden, I guess, is on the beach reading a book, already taking early retirement. But stay tuned. I think there could be something still in the works here where it would be quite interesting. I kind of mentioned that one of the options may be for Biden to move out gracefully and not finish the entirety of his presidency and turn it over to Kamala Harris. Because from at that point, I mean, the glass ceiling, the alleged glass ceiling would be broken even in this type of measure, and she would become the sitting president for 60 days or whatever until the election takes place. Or if she happens to be reelected, then it'll just be a continuation of the same. But can you imagine? I mean, because here her candidacy is already scrambling. Could you imagine what kind of scramble it would be if Joe Biden relented and turned over the Oval Office to Kamala Harris, all for the sake of politics, to give her some sort of advantage of being the incumbent? And of course, she'd have the full use of all the trappings of being, the president, which would, give her a little bit more force, I guess, for her campaign. I don't know. I mean, we're still here. I mean, I guess it's all a possibility that could still happen. And because I said that the Democrats would love nothing better to be able to say, look at, here, the Democratic Party, this progressive Democratic Party that's done so good in healing the racial divide. We gave you the first Black president, and now we're going to give you the first Black woman president. And then you hear the glass shattering above, if even for 60 days. But whoa, I mean, how far-fetched is that? Could be a consideration, and we'll see how that plays out. I think the one thing for sure that we know, and I owe my good friend John O'Connor some money, because I'd bet and believed that what Joel Gilbert was saying, that Michelle Obama would would take over at the convention and become the nominee for the presidency for the out of the Democratic Party. That didn't happen, and I think that if that would have happened, could you imagine? I don't think Donald Trump could even handle any more attempted assassinations and be able to overcome, her popularity. And I don't know, just saying. But anyway, it looks like for right now we don't have to deal with that. But the Obamas are in the White House anyway, fulfilling Barack Obama's ideal and saying that he didn't want to be in the office, but if he could be somewhere speaking into the ear of the president. So John Fleetwood, Evie Bear Carroll, Movie Guide TV host, and Adam Holtz from Focus on the Family will wrap up this next hour for us. So stay tuned. It's all coming up here on Bill Martinez Live.
We call ourselves ASAP Travel for one reason. We can help you book a ticket ASAP. For those of you that don't know, that means as soon as possible. That means no wait time. You get through right away. No searching online. Our specialty is the lowest available fares on the big name airlines. You know them. We can't tell you their names. You can fly domestically or internationally and save more money than you could if you call the airlines directly. Our proprietary software goes underneath the hood of the major airline booking systems and finds you the best rates available. So if you're ready to make your travel plans right now, business or vacation travel, we have all the major airlines always at great rates. Call ASAP Trips and we'll have your ticket in your inbox in 15 minutes. Call this number now.
800-506-4885. 800-506-4885. 800-506-4885. That's 800-506-4885.
Getting America back on track. Bill Martinez Live.
And you didn't think it was going to be easy, did you? Even though a majority of Americans clearly agree we're on the wrong track, I say, okay, good observation. What does the right track look like? And do you really believe what Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are offering the country are going to get us back on track? Or is it going to be more of the same? Or are you just going to believe that she says, well, nothing's really changed. I'm not flipping and flopping. My values remain the same. Those are unchanged. But your values are connected to the things that you do. And it's not like she only has a history of a couple of weeks here. Yes, I mean, a history in short order as far as running and being in this position as president of the United States. Yes, I'll go with you on that measure. But I mean, let's go back. I mean, almost 4 years now as vice president, 4 years as a senator. And before that, I mean, she keeps talking. She wants to always talk about this alleged success that she's had in California. And to me, I think that's all a red herring, because when you break it down and understand what her alleged success that she had in California, not so much. John Fleetwood from johnfleetwood.com is with us right now. Hey, John, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Bill. Good morning. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. So did you get a chance to see any of the highlights or lowlights, as some might say, of that interview with Dana Bash and Kamala Harris and Tim Walz last night?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Associated Press. I was surprised they're kind of taking a hit at Kamala Harris, which is strange coming from the mainstream media. They've been covering for Harris and Biden for the past 3.5 years. But their headline this morning kind of surprised me. It said the interview, Kamala Harris's inaugural sit down, was most notable for seeming ... ordinary. They actually put the ... dots. They're being kind of cute, Associated Press, and it's their top headline. It's kind of strange. I'm not quite sure how to read it, but they're angling it like I don't know. They're calling her ordinary, which isn't really something you want to call anybody.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't like getting called ordinary, and here you have the Associated
Well,
Press calling her
especially
ordinary.
especially John, they've built her up to such a way that, the polling numbers, all the excitement of joy and the enthusiasm and everything like
Right.
that, and how they've pushed this narrative about her, and they're realizing, uh-oh, we've got a loser of a horse here. So how do
Right.
you hold on to any kind of credibility? Because even though it wasn't an absolute disaster, it was a disaster, John, because you didn't come away. I didn't come away from, it was like 20 minutes that CNN stretched out to an hour because they played a lot of, campaign fluff, to kind of built up the interview around it. But the essence of the interview, you didn't come away and say, gosh, that was inspiring. Oh, and she really convinced me that the reason that she's changed her ideas and about fracking, no fracking, free healthcare for all immigrants and housing and all this other stuff. Boy, I'm real clear now and understand, and I can support the cause. She's really convinced me. And even if she wasn't to the point of convincing me, at least give me some plausible belief and understanding of who you are,
Well, she's a suit. She's and you can fill that suit with whoever you want. She's not in control. Even if she got in the White House, she wouldn't be in control.
Right.
She hadn't had any campaign positions. Last time I checked, she didn't have any campaign positions on issues, anything of real substance on her website. And they would not release the transcript. CNN apparently wouldn't release the transcript. It was reported of that interview. So they're trying to hide something, and it's the fact that, look, it doesn't matter who gets in there of the mainstream selections. I'm going to leave Trump aside for the moment, but anybody they put in, whether it's Biden or Harris, or if Newsom got in there, they're not the ones in charge. What they're going to do is they're going to promote more of the same, even if they're part of a party who have historically been against those positions. Let me give you the best example. This is right now front headline on Reuters, mainstream as it gets news. Their top headline is Harris vows tougher approach on migration, which is absolutely absurd. Just look at their track record over the last 3.5 years. Migration is illegal immigration has exploded. It's a
Even when
horrible
she was
situation.
attorney general in California, John, she,
Right.
she supported illegal immigration. So we're just
Right.
not talking just the last 8 years. I mean, she keeps bringing up her, prosecutorial days in California. Well,
Right.
she was there holding the door open.
Well, look, and the rest of the headline is tougher approach on migration, comma, supports weapons for Israel. So this explains a lot. How is it that a Democrat who's part of a party whose history has been make love, not war? Think of the Democrats back in the day attached to the hippie movements, and
Sure.
they didn't
The
want war
60s
in
and 70s,
Vietnam.
right? Exactly.
Very critical of George Bush, and then lo and behold, Obama gets in and he has more drone strikes than even Bush did. So and this is coming from the Democrat Party. So why is Kamala Harris in support of weapons and building up the military industrial complex in this country as a Democrat? Why is that? That should make people scratch their heads, because they're supposed to be the party of make love, not war. And nevertheless, she's there. She's going to get us into more wars. When the Democrats get in office, there's war. Why is that? I think that should cause the average listener, especially the average person who maybe is center left or left, to think, you know what, these people don't actually represent my beliefs. Actually, I think you should, if you're leaning left, you should consider Trump, because when he was in office, there were no new wars.
Yeah. Well, see, what happens though, John, is the people on the left and those that follow the Democratic Party, they're used to being lied to. They've accepted it. They keep swallowing it hook, line, and sinker. This language of Kamala Harris. I don't want any fracking.
Right.
Yeah, now I've changed, and I'm channeling the different Kamala. I got the new Kamala now, and but
with the
once
Southern accent now,
yeah,
apparently.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's affected, no doubt. And so all this stuff is just, it's all, coming from central casting somewhere. If
Yes.
somebody told her, okay, here's how
Yes.
we're going to brand you and make you up and doing, like you said, as a suit, and they're trying to fill her with stuff that she doesn't relate to. She doesn't believe in it. That's why she gets goofy when she gets off script and she's off the, off the teleprompter. She doesn't have the gravitas because she doesn't believe in what she's saying, John. But you see, people are they're conditioned into buying into the lie of the Democratic Party. If you go back, and you don't have to go that far back. I mean, let's just go Obama forward. How many things did he promise and how many things didn't happen? Time and time again. But it amazes me. Boy, Barack Obama's in the House and everybody's still applauding, standing up, giving him all kinds of adulation, going, wait a minute, you're the same goofball that lied to us and cost us all this money and lives, right?
Goofball. I like that. It suits them.
Well, it does. Anyway, John Fleetwood is with us, and he'll continue on the other side of the break. Stay with us, America.
Are you looking for the cheapest prices on car insurance? Then call the Cheap Car Insurance Hotline right now. Hey, you're guaranteed to save money on your car insurance. Most car insurances can be canceled at any time. That means if you find a better deal, you can switch right away. We're not just one company. We offer most of the major brands of car insurance. We're like a discount supermarket for car insurance. And it doesn't matter if you have a good record or a bad driving record. Our agents are experts at finding you the right car insurance for your needs. Our average customer saves hundreds of dollars a year when they call us to switch. So why don't you make this 100% free call right now and see how much you can save on your car insurance?
800-507-6553. 800-507-6553. 800-507-6553. That's 800-507-6553. How clean is the water you're drinking and bathing in? If you call Aquasana Water today, they'll provide you with a free assessment telling you the condition of your tap water. Aquasana sells whole house water filters starting at $1,000. Isn't that worth it to have a 10-year supply of filtered, cleaner water? Aquasana water filters tackle chlorine taste and odor and can reduce contaminants like viruses, lead, forever chemicals, and microplastics, depending on the system you purchased. So make the free call, find out the condition of your water, and make your water cleaner the Aquasana way. It's a smart decision for you and your family and a must for a healthy home. Get a whole house Aquasana water system starting at $1,000 for your entire home. Call and find out the condition of your water with a free water assessment. 800-832-2045. 800-832-2045. 800-832-2045. That's 800-832-2045.
Hi, everyone. Michael Horn for GetTheTea.com. Summer heat getting to you? Go to GetTheTea.com and take advantage of their first ever semi-annual sale on all of their herbal cleansing teas. Buy two, get 1 month absolutely free. Get the Tea is available in natural, peppermint, pomegranate, and senna, the added strength cleansing tea. Go to GetTheTea.com. Enter the code MikeT and receive free shipping too. GetTheTea.com is a family-based and owned company that has been in business over 15 years. They also carry unique supplements that you won't find in stores for your immune system, your glucose levels, and vitamins too. GetTheTea.com. It's one of the best sales of the year, so don't wait. Buy two, get one free. Go to GetTheTea, T-E-A, GetTheTea.com. Enter the code MikeT for free shipping. GetTheTea.com. Mike T is your code. Go to GetTheTea.com.
Have you written a book, or do you have a manuscript ready and just need to find the right publisher? Christian Faith Publishing supports authors like yourself to bring their books to life. And right now we're offering you a free writer's guide designed to steer you towards book completion. Christian Faith Publishing evaluates each manuscript we receive. If your book earns approval, we take care of everything: editing, designing, printing, promotion, and widespread online and in-store distribution. Picture your book gracing the shelves of specialty Christian bookstores Lowe's, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and numerous other retail destinations. It's time to get that manuscript published and to work with a publisher who shares your values of integrity and honesty. You can get your book published. Get your manuscript reviewed and a free writer's guide today.
800-439-1588. 800-439-1588. 800-439-1588. That's 800-439-1588.
John Fleetwood continues with us. You know, he was saying earlier that, basically what we're seeing with Kamala Harris is just this empty suit, that those who are in power just fill her with whatever personality calls for at that particular time. So I guess we're dealing with the good Kamala, the bad Kamala, because when you listen to what she talked about in terms of, she says, I made it clear. She says, let's be clear. My values have not changed. I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020 that I would not ban fracking. Well, that must have been another stage that she was talking about, because she was already out and off the stage before 2020, but she was on that stage. So maybe that was the bad Kamala. I don't know. Anyway, go figure it out. This is brain bruising. I get it. But she said in 2020, I would not ban fracking as vice president. I did not ban fracking as president. I will not ban fracking. But yet she was the deciding vote, John, on the Inflation Reduction Act. The deciding vote that had an impact on the issue of the electric vehicle mandates and these things, the green energy, laws and mandates that were imposed on the American people that all have an impact on oil, on fuel, on fracking. So she's splitting hairs here and wants us to believe someone that she's not, right?
Right. I mean, that Inflation Reduction Act that was obviously didn't help inflation. If anything, it hurt inflation.
It lit it up. Exactly.
It lit it up. And that was one of the lies that you would catch in the interview, that they say, oh, well, inflation's slowing. Well, we have a post-pandemic situation here where our economy is recovering from the damage that these government mandates did to the economy. So the government did this. It wasn't the quote unquote pandemic. But anyway, the inflation might be slowing, but it's still going up. And they don't make that clear in the interview because CNN, of course, is going to lie to you like any mainstream media outlet will. But inflation is still going up. So they made it sound like, oh, inflation's slowing. And if that's all you hear and all you watch is the mainstream media, you don't understand that, well, inflation is still going up. Maybe it's slowing because the economy is recovering on its own, but it's not going down. It's still increasing, and you can feel it when you fill up at the gas pump. You can feel it when you go to the grocery store. The cost of eggs and meat are insane right now. They're doing on purpose. I mean, they're trying to keep all the healthy stuff away from us, and all the bad stuff they keep pushing. I actually saw this Time magazine cover. I don't know if you saw this floating around social media, but there was actually someone at Time who published this story that the headline was something like, what if processed food isn't as bad for you as everybody thinks? It's just hilarious the way they push this garbage onto us. But yeah, her push for inflation reduction, that's just one, that's one of the Great Reset. That's part of their agenda, is to push this climate change, net zero, Green New Deal. They have to create this problem that isn't there at all. RFK Jr. is completely right on this, which is why I'm glad he's going to be part of the Trump campaign going forward, and then hopefully part of his administration, because RFK is going to expose a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, he really enlarged his voice by going with Trump and
Absolutely.
abandoning his independent run. I think it's a very smart move, for all his interests. John, relevant to the inflation issue, the prices are where they are. Now, how do we, catch up with that? I mean, basically, in order to catch up with what the Biden administration did by spending all this money, is that you'd almost have to increase wages by 25% just to get us to where we were before the pandemic, right? I mean, because
Right.
these prices aren't going to suddenly come down. We're not all of a sudden going to go back to pre-pandemic prices. I mean, oil, yes, I think there can be some, dramatic fluctuation there, but a lot of these other things that we're dealing with, the price of going out to dinner and some of these other services and that, I don't see those coming down in a dramatic sort of way. Do you?
No, and this is all by design, of course. If you want to collapse a country in 2024, you take away their ability to create their own energy. And that's
Mhm.
precisely what we've done. That's precisely what this administration has done. We can drill for oil.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we have oil all over the place right under our feet, and we can get it ourselves here in America, and that would fix us almost overnight. And this is why Trump always he stumps on this: is that you fix energy, drill, baby,
Right.
drill, is what he says over
Exactly.
and over again, and he's right. And the
Mhm.
left and what the Kamala Harris administration is pushing is this climate change farce, and it's a Trojan horse.
It
It's
is.
not going to help anything. It's based on bunk,
Mhm.
quote unquote,
Science.
studies that are
Yeah.
terrible, that are written by people who it's in their vested interest to keep this climate change narrative running.
They were paid to put out this propaganda. I
That's
mean,
right.
these researchers, these PhDs, okay, so you're going to give me several millions of dollars. What do you want me to write? Right?
Well, and it turns out, and I've got these studies up on johnfleetwood.com, these new ones that show that it's actually not CO2 that drives the climate and affects the weather. It's the sun.
Yeah. Imagine
Um,
that.
yeah, and so they can quote these scientists that have these vested interests, these conflicts of interest,
Mm.
but there is another side of the story that the mainstream news is not showing you, which is that there are other peer-reviewed studies that show that no, this is the sun that's driving climate. It's not CO2. So the whole premise that they base this climate change, Green New Deal, net zero farce is absurd. It's incorrect. It's illogical. It's not true. So
Yeah,
what
but the
this
thing
is
is,
for,
John, let me interrupt you for just a second.
of
The thing is,
course,
it happens time and again, and Kamala Harris said it last night. They speak of climate change as it is a matter of fact. Barack Obama said that during his administration. He said it's a fact. Well, no, in scientific terms, it's either a law or it's still a hypothesis, right? It's never a fact, but they've put it out there in such a way that the American people have kind of been duped into thinking that
yes,
it is a fact. There's a percentage of Americans who believe that. That's illogical and it's unscientific to put it in those terms. And she speaks of it, but there's no defense. There's nothing, that she backs up other than just putting it out there as if it's inarguable.
that's right. These are just weapons for destroying America. And it's not hyperbole. That's what they're doing on purpose. They're attacking on multiple fronts. They're attacking not just our energy. They're attacking us at our border. They're attacking us at our schools ideologically.
Mhm.
They're attacking us spiritually. This rise of Satanism and LGBTQ and all this. These are all it's a multi-pronged attack to collapse the West.
Mhm.
That's all they want. They want destruction. And
Right.
you just have to look around you and experience life as it's been for the past few years. And every time
Right.
one of these, World Economic Forum aligned politicians get into power, life gets a lot worse and a lot harder.
Mhm.
So people need to wake up and start voting to get these people out of power.
Right. Well, you talked about the 60s. People need to, go to Apple Play and call up Barry Maguire's song, The Eve of Destruction. Because here we are. That and as you're listening to that, pick up your copy that's probably been on the shelf for a while of 1984
Yeah,
and see where we are right now. It's amazing how popular that book has become again, John.
it's true. It's true because these are Orwellian times. We have these draconian systems, censorship, and geez, what's going on with the CIA and the FBI? And
oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
And that's another reason why I'm happy RFK is cozying up with Trump, because the CIA took out his uncle, John F. Kennedy, and I hope they put RFK over the CIA and all these intelligence agencies and all the health agencies.
Well, keep in mind, this isn't about Republican or Democrat. This is about America and Americans. John Fleetwood, thank you, sir. Take care.
Thanks, Bill. See ya.
September 11th is Patriot Day and a national day of service and remembrance. It's been more than 2 decades since the tragedy of September 11th, 2001. That day, Americans united across divides to do whatever they could to help. On September 11th, National Day of Service and Remembrance, Americans of all ages and backgrounds are invited to come together to honor the lives we lost through acts of service. Join us Wednesday, September 11th, as we pack meals, clean up neighborhoods, and recommit to being there for one another. You'll serve with neighbors and strangers alike to build bridges in your community. Kevin McDonald, AmeriCorps alumnus.
In 2001, I was just 4 years old when I lost my father in the attack on the World Trade Center. That devastating loss changed me, but it also inspired me to help others in need through my service with AmeriCorps and now in my career. Over the years, I've seen firsthand how small efforts can affect great changes that impact the lives of those in need.
To find a local volunteer opportunity or to learn more, visit AmeriCorps.gov/9/11day. By AmeriCorps.
Do you have Medicare and do you use a CPAP machine? This is a national healthcare alert regarding your CPAP supplies. Using a clean CPAP mask and clean supplies is important to staying healthy. The best way to make sure your CPAP equipment is clean is to get new supplies. If you have Medicare, we have great news. Medicare will pay for you to have new clean supplies every 90 days. We'll even do all the paperwork for you to make sure that there's little to no out-of-pocket cost to you. And you don't even have to leave your home. We provide free in-home delivery. So if you're a CPAP user and you have Medicare, staying healthy with new CPAP equipment is easy. Just make this free phone call right now to get started.
Sponsored by Specialty Medical. 800-254-1421. 800-254-1421. 800-254-1421. That's 800-254-1421. If you're 65 or older and Medicare is your main source of insurance, pay close attention right now and listen for details on how you may save thousands of dollars on your health care costs. Did you know that Medicare can pay for things like dental visits, home delivery of drugs, even a gym membership? Call us right now and learn how to unlock all your Medicare benefits. Medicare and supplemental plans that we provide can even offer you drug coverage with zero copays and pay for transportation to your doctors. Medicare plans can offer you wonderful money-saving benefits, but you've got to call now. We'll help you get the most out of your Medicare. Make this free, no-obligation call now. Save a ton of money on your health care costs and get the code to unlock all your earned Medicare benefits. Paid for by Senior Choice Plans. 800-796-3954. 800-796-3954. That's 800-796-3954.
Welcome back, America. Bill Martinez here, and look at who we have here, of course, the one and only Evie Bear Carroll from Movie Guide TV. She is here with us to give us the latest on some really neat movies and some growing controversy because it's back to school time. And, you know, back to school always is a good opportunity to get into a controversy or two, right, Evie?
That's right.
Well, let's talk about what's high on the list here, and that is this neat new movie about a World Series team from 2002 out of West Texas. You Gotta Believe, huh?
It's a sweet little movie. It's about it's about sorry. I'm thinking in my head before I'm talking. You know, we're waking up over here.
Right.
But it's a cute little movie because it's about a father who is the coach of a team, and he's the coach of his son's team. He's got two little boys, and they're around 8 or 10, and the team is always kind of losing.
Yeah.
It's never doing as well as they want it to. But he finds out the bad.
It's kind of like a little bit of the Bad News Bears, right?
Yes.
Remember that movie, right?
But
Exactly.
he finds out that he actually has cancer. And so they're so, they're so distraught. But he says, this is what we're going to do. We're going to win this little league in Dallas, Texas. Texas is very popular for baseball, so it's hard. And they've never won anything before, and it's played by Luke Wilson, and then Greg Kinnear's also in it, and he's and their coaches together, and so it's a sweet little movie. And there's some conversations about God and what's going to happen after life, because the father, he has cancer, and so it's a sweet little movie. There are some for some reason, who knows why, but they added some cursing. And so, you wish it could have totally just been a PG movie, but
exactly. Right.
We would probably say, 10 and above for this movie.
Right. But a nice little story here. Here you got a team of losers, and somehow they get an opportunity to go to the Little League World Series and go on a journey. And they end up in Williamsport, which for those of us who played Little League, if you got it on the All-Star team, that's what you would hope to do. But also the other thing is most All-Star teams are made up of players from that league. In this particular case, it was this team that had played together that were, like we said, the Bad News Bears. They couldn't get out of their way to win a game, so to speak. But they hung together and said, okay, what the heck, we'll give it a shot. And next thing you know, they start winning, right? And they end up at Williamsport. And for those of us who are athletes and played Little League ball, there's so much to relate about this. But of course, then you have the sad story of the father dying while these kids are are on the road to the World Series, Little League World Series. And they even, to kind of champion the cause, they have embroidered on the side of their hats Bobby, which is the name of the dad. And it's just, like I said, it's just a really sweet little story. And I had a chance to talk to the son, who is the real Robert Ratliff. And he has a son of his own. And so it was a neat conversation, to talk about his experiences and his father. And then, as you remember, in the credits, there's a letter that his dad writes him. You remember, while he's sitting on the field, and his dad gave him a letter that he was reading with his son, and opening it up for the first time, his little boy. And it was sweet. So I had a chance to ask him about that. I said, if I'm not, trespassing, something personal and private, but I know that a lot of people are going to watch this movie and say, what did it say in the letter? Oh, so anyway, but it was just a sweet encouragement and a letter that a father, I think most fathers would want to leave their sons if they were aware that they were not going to be around, much longer,
And the main character, I talked to the main little boy, Michael Cash, and he was so sweet, but he actually had lost his dad. So he was very young, and in real life he had lost his dad, and then he played this character losing his dad. I think that would take a lot of, that would take a lot to play that character after you've lost your father. But you do have a deeper understanding of what's going on. So, that little boy had been through so much.
Right. You'll enjoy the movie, and you'll sing Rawhide one more time too, which was interesting. Remember that, Rawhide? Came a theme song for them. It's kind of funny. Anyway, also coming up this weekend, the Reagan movie, huh?
Yes, the Reagan movie. And the Reagan movie is all about what Reagan, did during his time. And it's very factual about what actually he accomplished. And it actually talks about his whole life. from the beginning. And so it kind of gives you an understanding more of who Reagan was. And it's a wonderful story about it, how he met Nancy, and Nancy, really loving him and supporting him through it all. I would say probably middle school and above. And I think that, it's great for younger audiences to see because, they weren't around when Reagan was around. And so, I even took my interns who were in their 20s, and they were not even alive when Reagan was around. So, when Reagan was still alive. So it's amazing for them to see, what he did and what he'd accomplished. And some of the points that I really love in the movie, and Bill, you can tell me what you loved, but where it shows that he went to Gorbachev and he met with Gorbachev and he says, we got to change this. And he was negotiating and he was meeting. And, he was firm. And it showed that we're a strong country and we were strong in what we believed in, that we wanted to protect humans and protect people. And he met with people who were of different political sides as him, and he was kind to them, but he was strong on his beliefs. And I think that it's something we can learn today, because it's not that you have to compromise your beliefs to talk to someone else, but you can talk to the other political side. And so there was some great points about this movie.
Well, I think what could happen here, Evie, is people realize that conservatism is a good thing. The conservative values won out here. I mean, talking with your enemies, setting up alliances like with Margaret Thatcher and even the Pope. This president was so iconic. I had to laugh a little bit because I don't remember that this was part of the movie, but I thought afterwards, I wonder if Gavin Newsom edited out the part that Ronald Reagan, because I was in California at the time when Ronald Reagan, and of course this was before your time, so this wouldn't have happened, but Ronald Reagan, actually, we had collected so much money in the state that Ronald Reagan gave money. He wrote checks back to the people, because of the windfall that the state had collected, which is unheard of. And I think when Democrats hear that, they just, the hairs on the back of their neck stand up. How dare the government ever give the people back any of their money, right?
Right. We could use that again in California, where, Newsom's done after next year. We'll see what happens. Well, a lot of businesses have left this year, and that's just so evident. That's the truth. That's not an opinion matter. A lot of businesses have left California, and so we need some.
Just ask U-Haul. They'll tell you how many businesses have left, because they're happy to rent out the U-Haul trailers that are taking these businesses out. Good news for the Forge. The Kendrick brothers, once again, an A1 rating. Did you see that?
That's wonderful. And they have such a great heart, and they're always making these great movies that are for the church and for, non-believers too, but really to encourage people of the church to, and this particular one was, about discipleship. And so, they have such a great heart, and they do such a great job.
Exactly. We're not going to have much time to get into this, so I'm going to have to direct you to movieguide.org to read the story, and that is the internet addiction, how it's destroying our kids' brains, right?
Well, this is a lot, a lot of studies are now focusing on this because, it's a prevalent thing in children's lives to be on the iPad now that we never had before, right? Because we didn't have this type of thing. And so they say that it does affect the memory of a child, and they're noticing all these, impacts and impaired function between parts of the brain to communicate.
Exactly.
Be very cognizant of what your child is taking in and the amount of time. And we actually on Movie Guide, because we don't have a lot of time here, but we have time, we have articles on how much time you should do based on your child's age in terms of iPad use. And so, it's a very important topic.
Well, check it out. We got to call it a wrap here. Evie Bear Carroll, the host of Movie Guide TV. Evie, as always, appreciate the time. Take care. God bless.
Thanks for having me.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic. Your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
This Labor Day, Red Wing is spotlighting some of the skilled trades workers that help build the world around us, even if we never see them. Take, for example, William Stone, a tower climber who climbs thousands of feet into the air to repair towers vital for the communications networks that millions of Americans rely on daily. You can see him in action at redwingshoes.com. The importance of these skilled trades cannot be overstated. Yet, the industry is facing a critical labor shortage, says David Schneider, Chief Marketing Officer for Red Wing Shoes.
With 5 people leaving the skilled trades for every 1 that is entering, there is definitely a role for brands like ours at Red Wing to play by helping people truly see and consider the skilled trades.
This Labor Day, join Red Wing and take a moment to appreciate the skilled, unseen efforts of America's trades workers that make it all happen.
Are you looking for a natural health solution to improve your mind and body? Greska's Carbon 60 is an all-natural oral dietary supplement that supports your body's optimal health and performance. Studies show that Carbon 60 helps eliminate inflammation, often the root of your health issues. 1 carbon-rich serving provides your body with a powerful antioxidant to help remove toxins and free radicals. Carbon 60 helps protect your cells from damage and promotes cellular regeneration. Experience the power of Greska's Carbon 60 and say goodbye to pain, inflammation, and fatigue. Call anytime at 720-600-6040, 720-600-6040, or visit c-60.com. That's c-60.com. Greska's Carbon 60. Go to c-60.com.
How would you like to save money on nearly all your prescription drugs? We've set up a special toll-free number for the RX Outreach Program. They're a nonprofit company whose mission it is to make prescription drugs more affordable to the masses. They don't take insurance, and in many cases, your prescriptions are even cheaper than your co-pays. They carry thousands of different prescription drugs, so whatever you're taking, there's a good chance they have it. No coupons are required, and this is not a discount card. It is pure savings on your prescription drugs. They specialize in generic meds for any chronic health needs you have. Call with your prescription and find out for free how little you can pay for your prescription drugs. Remember, we don't take insurance, so call right now.
800-705-6581. 800-705-6581. 800-705-6581. That's 800-705-6581.
Hey, welcome back. Bill Martinez here, 14 minutes before the top of the hour. For more information on the show, you can check it out, BillMartinezLive.com. Again, a program reminder, Monday, the first hour, one-on-one with Jonathan Cahn and his brand new book, Dragon's Prophecy. Oh, my goodness. It is captivating. And the things that Jonathan has to share with us about, revelations and these end time events, how they're all colliding. A powerful new book. We'll talk about it, get into detail, even talk about President Trump's assassination and some significant things that occurred in that attempted assassination. So that'll be this coming Monday. So make sure you tune in starting at 9:06 Eastern Time. Adam Holtz, Focus on the Family, PluggedIn.com director, joins us now. Hey, Adam, how you doing, buddy?
No, I'm great. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing terrific. I mean, all things considered, I'm excited about this upcoming conversation with Jonathan Cahn. I interviewed him several weeks back. But everything, as you know, in our business has to be embargoed to a certain time because the book officially releases, I guess, next Tuesday. And but we're allowed to play the interview on Monday. So definitely looking forward to it because we were able to get into a lot of detail in his new book, Israel, these signs and wonders that we're starting to see, and how relevant are they to the book of Revelations and these end time signs that Jesus warned us about.
Yeah, and clearly we have two sort of contrasting messages in scripture. One is that nobody knows the time or the date. And
Mhm.
so I don't think we need to be fixated on absolutely nailing it down. But by the
Right.
same token, Jesus repeatedly says, watch, pay attention, be aware of the times, don't be caught off guard, don't be caught by surprise. And so I think that there is a call to vigilance when
Without a
it
doubt.
comes to the culture, and just being not fearful, and not trying to be prophetic in the sense that we have to nail down everything. I mean, I lived through the 70s, you did too, and we had late great planet Earth, and is Gorbachev the Antichrist because he's got a mark on his head? So I'm not really concerned with trying to nail down the specifics, but I think it does seem in the broader sense that the nations as a whole are aligning against Israel, which is
Right.
exactly what scripture says will happen. So
Exactly.
those bigger trends I think are worth paying attention to.
Right. And the thing is, it's not so much that you just take it for granted and put your heels on the desk and just say, okay,
Right.
well, I'm just going to let life happen. Jesus was real clear whether he talked about the parable of the 10 virgins, right? That
Yep.
five of them didn't
Didn't have
have
enough oil.
oil, right?
Yep.
And
That's
so
right.
they didn't get a chance to go into the banquet. And then also those servants that were left to take care of business. And
Yep.
and Jesus said, when the master comes and he doesn't find you about his, the master's business, then you're going to have hell to pay. So,
Yeah.
the thing is that regardless, we need to be doing something, okay? And
Right.
hopefully that something isn't just something, anything. No,
Right.
it's what God wills, and you have to be in tune with God's word and this time. I did a prophecy conference here. Oh gosh, it was over 10 years ago in Southern
Uh-huh.
California, and the theme of it was sync up. That we, just like when you were in wartime and you were going to battle, one of the things that they would always do is they would say, okay, is your watch, are we all synced up on the right time? Okay, because this has to be orchestrated and we've
Yep.
got to be on time. Well, I'm saying with God's prophetic clock, we need to sync up and be on time with God's time plan. Like you said,
Yep.
we don't know, we're not predicting anything,
Right.
but yet God doesn't want us to be unaware. So,
Right.
but we need to be cautious and be vigilant about being in sync with God's prophetic time clock, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think on the individual level, I'm also reminded of the parable of the talents, which really is a parable about stewardship, right?
Right.
That God has given each one of us a calling. God has given each one of us gifts to serve the body of Christ, to serve his kingdom, and to serve those who don't know him, and to be a light. And so I think the question individually is, am I in sync with what God has called me to do personally?
Mhm.
And on any given day, we're sort of all over the map. But I think that the beauty of the gospel is that there's that constant call to forgiveness, there's the constant call to grace, but our response to that is not to be lackadaisical or laissez-faire about sin, but
Exactly.
to respond out of gratitude and just a sense of thanksgiving that he's called us, he's chosen us, he's forgiven us, he's freed us. But there's also a sense of responsibility as we work, looking forward in expectation to what's coming. And let me say too, part of what I had to say about the end time stuff, I think in the late 80s when I was a teenager, I got really wrapped into that in a way that I think made me fearful. And I
Mhm.
think that the purpose of scripture and the purpose of revelation and of prophecy is not to make us fearful, it's to let us know what the outcome is in the end. So I don't know all the details, but I know how the story ends, and that gives me a sense of hope and anticipation. And I think if you're finding yourself fearful or anxious, that about whether we're in the end times or not, I think that's an opportunity to ask God, am I really thinking about these prophetic scriptures the way you want me to? Because
Mhm.
Revelation, even though there's all sorts of stuff that happens in it that's incredibly dramatic, is a message of hope. Jesus wins, Satan
Right.
doesn't win, and we don't have to be fearful.
Well, and the thing is about fear is a bit of a caution and a
Yeah.
sign that you're losing faith.
Right.
Faith cancels out fear, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
where do we go? And then we find out where do we find that perfect love that casts all fear, but from God Himself. So it's an
Exactly.
indication that we're hanging on to the things of the world and not hanging on to God. Maybe that's a time where we need to be like that woman with the issue of blood. I often say, sometimes people ask me, "Go, how's it going?" I go, "God, I feel like that woman with the issue of blood. I'm just hanging on to Jesus' garment,
Yeah.
you know."
Right. And that's where we want to be. We want to be in proximity of Jesus. We want to live with faith and conviction that if I can just be close to him,
Mhm.
I'm going to be okay. And
Right.
and we're going to be okay in the way that God defines that, you know?
Right.
I'm often struck by the fact that Jesus and also Peter and Paul, they lived in an incredibly corrupt and oppressive political regime. They didn't seem too worried about it,
Mhm.
and I think that's because their mindset was on God's kingdom and how it was emerging in and among them. And then Jesus talks about it. There's the parable of the
Well,
wheat and the tares. It's just
right.
it's
Mhm.
coming, and so I think that allows us to be people of hope, people of anticipation, and we don't have to live in anxiety. Now, I think we can be appropriately concerned with what's happening in our culture, right?
Right.
Again, we're not laissez-faire about the ways that our culture has rejected God and is morally adrift, but I think that we can do that in such a way that the aroma of Christ is attractive to people
Right.
who may be just wrapped up in anxiety.
Mhm. Well, I was talking with George Barna last week, Adam, and he pointed out, how secularism and atheism has been on the increase in our society. And, to your point, it it is that language and that perspective that is starting to fill the marketplace, and it
Yep.
has an impact on our kids. So it's up to us, those that are still holding, to the pursuit of truth and a biblical worldview, which is becoming less and less, but it's
Right.
God's remnant. And we know
Right.
that if we're part of God's remnant, that He's going to contend with those that contend with us. And just
Yeah.
like the early church, I believe that they had set their minds on that higher calling that God had set before them in such a way, as Paul says, excuse me, that they had no concerns about the here and now
Right.
because they knew that either way they were going to win, whether it was going to
Yep.
be a win here this side of heaven or a win on the other side of heaven. With God, we win, right?
No, that's exactly right. And a couple of years ago, I read a really interesting article. I don't know, maybe it was on the Federalist, or I don't know where it showed up, but it was really provocative, and it was on the issue of eschatology, which is a
Mm,
fancy theological word for the study of end times.
right.
And he said Christians, and especially those who are on the political right, we have a hope that transcends anything that's happening politically. Like, we have a hope that's bigger than the moment, that's bigger than the present. But they said, this was interesting to me. He said there really is no progressive eschatology because God has been rejected. And so all there is this moment and this frantic grab for power, because power and its expression right now is
Mhm.
all that matters, because they have no hope for the future. And I
Right.
thought that's a really interesting perspective. And I
Exactly.
think being people of hope, and Romans 15 talks about being overflowing with hope. Man, that's a countercultural thing these days, Bill.
No, it really is, and it's something that's important and vitally needed because
Yep.
that's what I'm hearing over and over again, from different commentators. It's almost like we're all blindfolded, filling different parts of the elephant. And what I'm hearing from people that travel across the country is that there is this hopelessness that is out there. Yes, there are bonfires of hope and
Yep.
revival that's taking place, which is very exciting. But regardless, there are still people out there, sadly, Adam, that are losing their sense of hope, and that's sad. And those are the ones we need to fight for. Adam
Yep.
Holtz, Focus on the Family, pluggedin.com is where you want to go. Check out the latest movie reviews and everything there.
Founded in 2004.
Thanks, Adam.
BBS
You bet, Bill.
Radio
Thank you.
TV stands as a trailblazer in remotely engineered live radio broadcasts over the internet. We ignited the new media revolution, offering a powerful platform for vital voices and alternative perspectives that mainstream media often silences. Our live broadcasts stream on over 200 of the world's largest internet broadcast stations, with on-demand syndication across all major social networks. Visionary entrepreneurs Douglas and Donald Newsom have crafted over 100,000 radio and web TV episodes for more than 1,000 satisfied clients. Experience the pinnacle of web radio and TV engineering. Compare our unbeatable prices, exceptional services, and comprehensive offerings with any other professional provider, and you'll see why we're unparalleled in the industry. Call us at 888-710-8061.
Hey, Bill Martinez here. Do you have a minute to talk about your financial future? I'm feeling like you are. For most of us, our economy is in trouble. So is there a solution? Good question. I have a good answer for you. Check out my friends at Genesis Gold Group. They can help you secure your financial future in these unstable times. Gold and silver are precious metals that investors have counted on for hundreds of years. All investors agree that gold should be a part of our financial portfolios. This is why I recommend that you run, not walk, to the Genesis Gold Group. In fact, you don't have to run or walk. A free informative consultation is just a toll-free call away. And you can see for yourself why investing in gold and silver can make sense in securing your financial future. So call them 844-202-4252. That's 844-202-4252. Or check out the website, goldwithbill.com.
BBS Radio TV. If it's not mainstream, it's on BBS Radio TV. A place for answers.